What's up everybody, it's Gary from Nintendo Dads here, back with a different sort of video. And I wanted to make this because the Switch has turned 3, and rather than giving you my list of favourite games or favourite memories, I thought I'd run down what I take with me when I go anywhere with the Switch. So, first thing is, I still have my OG model, I don't have the Lite, but what I do carry around with me is all fairly old, and there is new equivalents to it, but hey, let's just get right into it. Let's see that intro first. And so straight off the bat we have the bag, which is obviously what you need. This is a PowerA, I think it's called Anywhere Messenger bag, and it actually comes with a protective case for the Switch inside as well. So let's just take a quick look at that. So there we go, inside is the protective Switch case. It's a little bit harder than the one I had with my Switch, which came with some screen protectors. This one doesn't come with any screen protectors, but my Switch is in there and it's got screen protectors on, as you can see. So that's handy to have with it, right? Sometimes I just take that on its own in a backpack if I'm just traveling really light, but for long journeys and holidays, or even trips to convention centers and gaming events like EGX and EGX Res, Insomnia, I take a little bit warmer with me because I might be staying in a hotel for a weekend. So the bag is normally made to have like the dock and stuff in it, but I don't bother with all that stuff because I normally only play my Switch to either chill out or settle some scores with people while I'm out and about, right? So here's a few things that I take with me. First off, inside the bag, you can see it's not the best organised. It is compartmented, like I said, you're supposed to have like the dock and stuff in there. But what I take instead is a Hori play stand. Now this has been my best friend for like train journeys and stuff, especially if they've been stuck at a station and delayed, which I've had a couple of times, because you can pop the Switch on there, and this little ledge, as you can see, has got a cutaway so that you can use it to charge. Now, there is a newer model of this one out, which is more compact and better to help charge the Switch on the go, but I've still got the old one because it works perfectly fine. On top of that, the Switch's OG battery isn't the greatest, so I take with me a Juice power block. And the reason I take this one is because it has a USB-C to USB-C, so you can actually charge it through USB-C and output. So it actually charges the Switch while you play. I know some people are scared of external bricks and docks and stuff like that, but this one I've never had any problem with. And the one that this replaced was also a Juice dock, battery block even, and that one also didn't do any damage to my Switch, and that one didn't use USB-C to C, it used USB 2.0 to C. Okay, next I have some controller options. So I take with me this 8-bit dude. This is an older model. It's the N30 Pro. They have got a newer model of this one out. I just take it with me because it's compact, right? It's really good for people, like, especially if you play like a 2D Mario game. But it's just so small that you can just throw it in the bag and sometimes hardly know it's there. Also, I use this on my phone as well. So if I'm playing phone games, it always comes in handy for that. The other controller I take with me is this. It's a Geotech controller. Now, we have got a review of this. This is the WX4, I believe, wireless edition. We've got the review for this and the wired version up on the Nintendo Dads YouTube channel. And the reason I take this with me is because it's basically a Pro controller. It's got everything except for the Amiibo reader, so it has got gyro controls and all that on it as well. I like to keep my Pro Controller at home and this one on the go. It's lighter, a lot lighter. That's one of the reasons why I take it. And the other one is it's fairly cheap. So if for any reason it does get damaged or stolen or lost, they are fairly cheap to replace. And I do recommend these controllers for traveling, mainly due to the weight, because they are ridiculously light. On top of that, I keep a lot of physical games in a game case like this. I would download all the games, but they're cheap here in the UK to buy physically for the most part, a lot of the times. So I tend to buy the physicals. Otherwise, I would be all digital. I prefer digital on the Wii U, but for some reason, the Switch's physical ones are way cheaper than the digital prices. So yeah, that's been a bit of a saviour. There is a compartment in there as well for micro SD cards. So if you do download stuff and you fill up your one SD card and you swap between them, it's got a compartment for those as well. On top of that, essential. Right, plug. Yep, that's a 3-pin plug because obviously British. This one's USB-C, it's the one that came with my phone, and the reason I carry this one around is because you can charge the Switch directly from it with the USB-C to USB-C cable, and also the battery block and my phone all use the same one. That's the one downside to what I have in my bag, is that the controllers aren't USB-C, they're micro USB. I know that the 8-bit one, the new one, uses USB-C. I would prefer everything to be USB-C, but it's not that much of an issue because that battery block that I take on me does have a normal square USB output on it. So I do have some wires, which, speaking of which, let's see what sort of wires I have on me in this as well. Okay, so the back zip. This is where I keep the wires. I also keep something else in here, which is the little Joy-Con things, right? Because, I mean, the Joy-Con are 2 controllers on their own. So sometimes, to stop unfair advantages and stuff, I take these. And if I do play 2-player, we generally play on the 2 Joy-Cons. Unless somebody has a problem with it. But the wires, I take the normal USB-C wire that came with the Pro Controller, just in case there's a square output somewhere, like in a CAF or something, so I can charge some gear, charge some controllers while I'm out, charge a Switch while I'm out, rather than using my brick. Apple headphones, the reason I take these is because I haven't found a good solution for portable headphones yet for the Switch. I know there is a lot of options out there, but the ones that I do use, I normally use an Astro headset, the hThes. They're too big for this bag, so I don't take them. I take these because there's so many of them lying about, and I tend to damage headphones quite a lot. So, and they have a mic on as well, right? So they're just easy to use. They're compatible with my phone. It isn't an iPhone, but they still work. And yeah, they're just dotted around the house, so why not? On top of that, I take this from Primark, which is a iPhone and micro USB charging cable. The reason I take this is because I used to have an iPhone, but it's always handy to have a charger on you for somebody else, right, in case they ever need it. So that's just me being a good guy. Probably broken now. And of course, la pierre resistance. USB-C to USB-C. Everything should be using these nowadays, in my opinion. Like I said, my controller setup doesn't have these, but it's not the biggest deal. But I would prefer it if everything did use USB-C to USB-C. But you know, most outlets, like in a cafe, like I said, or a hotel that do have USB sockets on the wall, tend not to be USB-C either. That's why I take that other one with me. But for fast charging, can't beat it, right? And so that is it. That's what I carry around with me. It's a setup that has worked. I haven't ever had any beef with it. There's also some spare room in the bag, which I use for a microphone, which is actually, this is being shot on my phone, so I'm using a Rode shotgun mic, which normally goes in that bag, and the accessories to go with that, as well as like a handheld thingy, majiggies to turn my phone into a camcorder, because I don't take camcorders because they're too bloody big. But yeah, so that's everything that's in the bag. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out the Nintendo Dads. We have a lot more videos. We do a lot of game reviews and stuff like that. Podcast every week, sometimes more than one. So subscribe and stay right here on Nintendo Dads for more. Bye-bye.